that being a light worker versus being a light slave, being African and indigenous, and having we were talking about releasing those old dogmas of scarcity and, my enslaved ancestors versus, and my mother who was a street worker and a drug dealer and all this stuff, and having that stuff was like, that's not mine. That's not mine.
Yes, the world may not need another podcast, but it can definitely use a slap. Welcome to Slap the Power, the show that lifts artists who use their powers for positive progress. I am Rick Barrio-Dill.
And I'm Asia Nakia. On the show today, we are going to touch base on Paws for Progress and our furry friends, Miss Daisy, Mr. Wiggles, and Bowie, and talk about our upcoming adoption event right here in the Los Angeles area.
This Sunday. Hell yeah.
Heck
All right.
yeah.
All right. And more on the Jay-Z, P. Diddy allegations.
And then we're going to catch up with our Gen Z correspondent with a new edition of Make This Ish Make Sense.
Make this ish make sense, Asher. And do we have a new vigilante on our hands? Luigi Mangione.
And then we're going to switch back to some serious positivity with the one and only Blue Nyle. Yes. I mean, she is an amazing multidimensional artist who is inspiring people all over the world to really be able to get through anything with her healing.
And a little later, 2 scams and a slap. One of the two of us today learns in real time, along with you, the listener, which one is a true slap in the face of reality.
But first, we are going to talk about Paws for Progress.
That's right.
We have Miss Rachel Daisy, still unidentified name for this poor girl. It's just because, nothing has really stuck with my soul just yet. She's such a soulful dog. So
she is a soulful
I need a little more time,
Yeah.
A little more time.
And I love how since the election, we've kind of pivoted to starting the show with a dose of fresh air.
Yeah.
And your little girl and all the dogs that you've been working on lately, especially like Mr. Wiggles is pretty insane. With a name like that, though, come on, who doesn't want to adopt Mr. Wiggles? Everybody needs to adopt.
Everybody loves Mr. Wiggles.
Mr. Wiggles, yeah. But how are things? Because we actually have Daisy, Sasha, Rachel, sitting next to you today. And in all my years in Los Angeles, in all my years at going and anything, even related to the pound here or the kennel kind of situation, I've never seen a tougher, happier dog in my entire life. Like, she's bionic right now. She's got metal like transformers walking around the office going pew pew. But please tell the listeners, come on, give us the update. Pause for progress. Tell us how it's going.
I mean, we've been talking about her surgery, the last 2 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
And she finally got into her very, very specific, specialized orthopedic surgery. She got both legs fixed, which we thought maybe we were going to have to amputate. She is a bionic toy poodle now, for sure. She's definitely not making through any TSA security systems. But
nor Kanye West.
But no, that part.
Yeah.
But she's, like you said, I mean, she is just so happy and so brave. I mean, I can't even imagine the amount of pain and uncomfortability of having metal plates and rods going through your legs, and she is just still sitting here smiling, tail wagging, looking for lovin's, and just she's just a breath of fresh air. And I mean, I would have spent $5,000 70 more times to get this little girl her legs. Yeah. So we've got a long road ahead. She's got a lot of time in cage rest, which is going to be tough. She's a 1-year-old puppy. Yeah. She does not want to be doing that. And then we're going to try some therapy and physical therapy, some water therapy. But she's on her way. She's on her way to recovery.
I know you. Is this dog yours now? Are you looking to try and you're just fostering her?
I as much as I love her, and she will be another soul dog that I will probably cry hysterically over on the day she leaves me.
I'm not.
But I want her to be the center of attention in someone's life. She deserves that. Yeah. So I will give her up, even though it will be another tough one. Her and Mr. Wiggles, really, they have my soul right now, for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And how about Bowie?
Bowie's doing good. He actually just had another ortho consult. They think they might be able to save his arm. So we need another, another $5,000 for Bowie.
No, is it really? Is that what a limb
actually
is?
literally
That's the standard price of a limb. Like if I go on the black market,
his surgery is $4,980 to be exact. So the search goes on to find another ortho and see what we can do for Mr. Bowie. But Mr. Wiggles did have his surgery yesterday.
Hey.
He is doing amazingly well. So Mr. Wiggles is going to definitely be looking for his home sooner than I thought.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, keep tuned to Slap the Power. We'll have everything, kind of all the updates are there and through Compassion Kind.
Yeah. Oh, and if anybody wants to come meet our adoptables, I won't even bother with the address here, but we're going to put it in our links, in all the show notes. Please, anybody that wants to come out, we're going to start doing more adoption events in the LA area. So come say hi.
And there's an adoption event coming up this Sunday?
There is an adoption event this Sunday. We'll put all the details, and we will have, 7 of our babies up for adoption.
Hey,
yeah, so they'll be there.
See, so get your furry friends, get you, because they are the best. They kind of save us all.
They do.
And how's this for a segue? Jay-Z says lawsuit accusing him of raping a child at an awards after party is part of an extortion ploy. A woman who previously sued Sean Diddy Combs, alleging she was raped at an awards show after party in 2000 when she was 13, amended the lawsuit Sunday to include a new allegation that Jay-Z was also at the party and participated in the essay. The 24-time Grammy Award-winning rapper and a man whose book I do have by my bed, full disclosure, producer and music mogul, was called the allegations idiotic and heinous in nature in a statement released by Roc Nation, one of his companies.
Yeah, until the verdict is out. You know? Who knows? But we all knew this Diddy. I'm not even going to call it a scandal. It just is what it is. But, we knew this was going to have repercussions and new names were going to be coming out left and right. I really hope this is not the case, but
I was joking, but it is really the kind of the root of the conversation, I think, which is separating the art from this sort of modern day litigious society we are in, and also it's not to deny any of the allegations.
We have these ethical dilemmas that are coming up left and right in so many different areas, but for the listener or the person that's following this artist, how do you navigate listening, an artist that you've listened to for 30 years, but they're not matching up and aligning with your ethics? How do you move forward? Do you shut off every song when you hear it? What is the way to advocate for these women that are being affected, not buying their music, but then also we're surrounded by it. I mean, I feel like now it's like how many, like we said in the top of the show, it's like these are artists I listened to since I was in high school.
Again,
I don't know who I can listen to anymore.
Everyone needs to, be careful when we're talking about it, because I kind of said this about the Kevin Spacey thing. It got it got awful, but he was acquitted and didn't get his career back at all, right? And I think I saw there was that he was on Piers Morgan, and he was basically saying he was losing his house, his family house, and everything like that.
I believe it.
I mean, I hate to say it, but the Pete Hegseth stuff, right? It's odd. It's horrible. It feels very sort of Kavanaugh-esque in how they're just covering up a guy's gross behavior. When his mom writes a letter saying how despicable you are, and then goes on Fox only, right? And says, oh, well, the New York Times, it's just fascinating to me that we've somehow also moved the argument now that journalists can't do their job, right? And so when you call to verify a story, it's not, and somebody says it's not extortion, or it's not, I don't even know what the word she used, but I'll find it, and it's gonna piss me off. But the point being is that I don't know how that became a thing, like that they were that the press is somehow extortionist or not trustworthy, or all they're doing is asking you to either verify or push back against your own words. And I don't understand how that happens. So the point being is just we got to be diligent about the stories and what is going on. The New York Times is allowed to do journalism. Don't, and if you're trying to walk back your own words or something and accusing them just because they said confirm this or we're going to run with the story that we have, or deny it, confirm or deny. That's journalism. So anyway, I feel like moving forward, whether it's Jay-Z or the Diddy stuff, you know, the Diddy stuff. That's why he's locked up and in jail. But until
proven
guilty, Blueprint's still on my playlist, man. Blueprint's still there. Hova. And our resident Gen Z correspondent, Mr. Asher Freidberg, through the magic of TV and podcasting, we're going to make him, for those of you at home, we do a poof noise here in the office, and Asher appears in the 3 spot at the table. So, are you ready, Asia? We're going to go
I'm always ready.
1, 2, 3, and we're going to go poof.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, poof. Asher Freidberg. Hey.
I was in the bathroom.
Right?
You're always doing something.
See, we have a portal here at the studio, so you didn't know that. Now you know.
Now I know.
Did you wash your hands at least before we start?
I didn't get to start.
Oh, man. What is it? Since you will never tell us what we're going to talk about.
What is it?
What ish do we need to make sense out of? Tell us.
So today, I'm going to talk to you guys about Chitan. You guys know who Chitan is?
No.
Oh, my God. Is that you talking about the mascot?
I had a feeling you were going to know.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
No,
he's made an appearance on John Oliver.
Yeah,
Very well-known Japanese mascot. So
Yes.
I don't know if you're aware. I know Rick is. In Japan, mascots are a lot bigger than they are here. Each city will have their own mascot. They're usually really cute. They're usually really fun, harmless, meant to just give like good vibes. And then there's Chitan. I'm going to show you guys just a little clip.
Yes.
All right.
You can get some Chitan. Yes.
What?
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Chitan on stilts.
Suspense is killing me.
Does he make it?
So that's Chitan.
Okay, and make it make sense.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's been on for a little while, or she. I actually forget. You know what? This actually leads me right into my point. So Chitan is non-binary.
Okay.
And right now, Chitan is currently going viral on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, because it was advocating its support for the transgender community. It was mostly just doing pictures with like flags and just using the right colors. It wasn't. Chitan is not typically a magical sea otter of words, but this time it was. So what happened was it got a tweet. It got a tweet saying, "In terms of advertising, this is a colossal failure. Not only is the trans issue volatile here in America, but it's not even recognized worldwide, being outright banned in many countries. Ironically, you pandered to a very low percentage in terms of views. This was very dumb." And Chitan responded to this. Chitan said, "You are right. Chitan lost many opportunities, especially in her home country, because she publicly declared herself an ally of the transgender people. But I have no regrets at all. For Chitan, it is more important that transgender people can live happily as themselves than add ratings. To Chitan, transgender people are like family. Thank you so much for your concern. I appreciate your feelings. Love you."
Wow.
This is Chitan.
Wow. Chitan for the win.
Gotta love Chitan.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
Dope. Awesome.
But yeah, I wanted to share a little bit of what's going on with Chitan right now, just being outright much more of a advocate and ally of the transgender community, and is being part of it right now, essentially, being non-binary.
Yeah.
So I think it's just really interesting to get these kind of advocates, especially from countries where there are less advocates.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was going to say, where's Chitan from?
So Chitan is from the city is, and I'm going to probably pronounce it wrong. I believe it's Suzaki.
Okay.
But
What country?
so this is in Japan.
In Japan. Okay.
And funny enough, Chitan is not the legitimate mascot. Chitan's a rogue mascot.
You mean there's multiple Chitans, sort of like Santa Claus? Sorry.
Not like that, no, because there's only one Santa Claus.
That's true. There is one Santa Claus.
I'm Jewish and I know that. No, but yeah, Chitan
No one's
is just...
told him yet. He's still too young.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the
Young.
Gen
That's true.
Zs,
My parents will tell me when I'm 40.
Yeah, maybe.
But no, so Chitan is, not that there's multiple Chitans from what I understand, there could be, but that's not what I know. What I do know is that Chitan is not officially, signed in or anything by the government, while other ones have actual ones that are official, Chitan is rogue. Yeah, Chitan,
Oh, I got you. Copy.
yeah, Chitan,
So this is just a person that made their own costume to wear and makes videos.
I mean, they have a full, team behind Chitan, know.
Oh,
it's just
like
they're not
okay.
government sanctioned like many other mascots.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe at one point the city itself made a comment saying like we don't associate with Chitan.
Well,
wow.
I think for Japan, I think it's great that they have an ally like Chitan. I don't know anything about this mascot world, other than the fact that I went to high school where our mascot was a sponger, which made it on the David Letterman show.
A sponger?
Yes.
What's a sponger?
We don't have time for this.
Okay.
But that's the only mascot that I can that's my relatability to this conversation.
Chitan had a run on John Oliver,
Yes.
kind of going back and
okay.
forth, and all I know is that's killer, Asher.
But I love it.
appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for making that make sense. And shout out to Chitan.
Yeah, Chitan.
Chitan, we're big supporters here at Slap the Power. So shout out to Chitan. Good on you. And when we come back from the break, the one and only Blue Nile is going to be in here in studio for the interview. So stick around.
Gambling is part of the culture of America, since even before we were America. I'm Norman Chad. I know gambling. I've played blackjack and poker. I've bet sports and horse races. I've even hit the slot machines at a Pahrump, Nevada 7-Eleven. You say gambling, I say gambling mad. So join me on Gambling Mad with Norman Chad, wherever you find your podcasts. Follow us on socials at Gambling Mad Show or at Gambling Mad Norman Chad at YouTube.
All right, joining us in studio today for the interview, she is a multidimensional artist, a hip-hop activist, a sound healer, a Reiki master, a spiritual wellness coach, author, activator. Company's called Rooted in Her Power. Please welcome to Slap the Power,
Hey,
Blue Nile.
let's go.
Yeah.
Ancestors in the building.
Hey. So thank you so much for coming in. It's great to be in your presence. For those people that do not know you, please set yourself up.
Well, you said a lot.
Well, you got to then you got to go around to each of the boxes
yeah.
and say why that's deserved,
sure,
right?
for sure.
And I'll ask if you don't come around
sure.
to
Yeah.
it, for sure.
So I'm a human being, a divine light, first of all. I'm a light worker. I bring light to the darkness of this world, whether it's music, TV, and film, rapping, singing, dancing, writing, all that stuff. But as a little child, I have a claircognizance and a knowing of the higher sources of the elements. And as soon as I moved here from New York, I was on a big shaman path with Lakota tribe, Navajo tribe, and all my teachers. So I am a shamanic Reiki master. So the energetics and on a journey of healing myself. I was signed at 16. I came born in Boston, moved to New York. So I've had the book that I published is called Trauma Thriver. And so I've been on a journey of healing generational, intergenerational trauma within my life and helping others do that. I work in recovery. It's multidimensional for a reason because it's infinite. I channel divine energy, whether writing or helping people turn on their light and to turn up their chi. Reiki is a Japanese word, literally means higher power. So yeah, however the sources want to do it, whether I book a movie, a TV show, holla, or if I'm working at a treatment center and helping someone save their life from mental illness and disturbia and all of those things where we just need to learn how to breathe, these somatic therapies that I've gotten certified in to save my life and to heal. For me, never really did I think I would be like helping others. I knew musically, yes, I'm an activist, hip hop activist, like always been about the origination of hip hop was to be an activist and to truly inspire. And, as an African American queer gay woman, Jamaican, it's like we've had work to do in the civil rights and equality. So human rights is just my life.
For me, energy became about everything. I didn't realize it until I met my girl. And when you meet someone that is that is connected to source, for lack of a better way to put it, right? And then even if we can't help ourselves sometimes, we can. One of the first things I realized was, oh wow, you're just emitting all this amazing godly light, and yet when you turn it on yourself, you don't have that. And I was like, wow, I want to make sure that you see this. I'm going to devote my life to making sure that you see this. But in it, and this is why you inspired me to think of this, is that it's through helping others that it helped me get out of my own way, right? So how was your journey? Like you said, you started off early in the business. We're both in the same business. How did you? At what point did you kind of have your sort of aha or lowest kind of moment?
The womb.
Yeah.
God bless my mom. I was born into, I survived the projects, and she, as a Greek woman, Italian woman, loved black men, and unfortunately she had really bad taste in men. And so I was activated as a survivor of stuff from childhood. And she was also a singer. And I was also in dance school at 3. So I was writing and singing and had my cassette tape on to get me through when I was at my mother's house. And, but luckily I had my mother's side of the family up until I was like 16, who just, my yaya, my papu, and my nana, who allowed me to have that unconditional love. But I was a survivor of a lot. So music was my escape, and I wrote and I performed. And then I got signed at 16. And that allowed me to open up for lots of people and perform in front of. That's when I realized I was an energy conduit, and I was like, "Wow, there's something here." And I was transmuting. My awakening happened, in a near-death experience. I'm also in recovery. I'm 7.5 years free of drugs and alcohol. 10 years on that journey because I never went to treatment. It was really hard because I walked in like I have to end this. So my ancestors told me in order for the healing to stick, you got to give up the alcohol. And then to do that was like, really, do I? So I had to really negotiate and be like, why? It's not as bad as this person, but it's the inside bottom. Like you can be successful in money, but if you have thoughts of really not wanting to be on the planet, like that might be an issue. You know what I mean?
No, sure.
So it was a multiple. That near-death experience kind of woke me up because I saw the other side, and I moved to New York from Boston and tried to do it. You know what I mean? But not until I came. My teachers were all in spirit realm, like Michael Beckwith. I started watching The Secret 20 years ago, which was an awakening, and What the Bleep Do We Know, which was quantum physics. And that just awoke up my scientific and electromagnetic auric field type Joe Dispenza. And then now Michael Beckwith's my teacher in real life.
Hey,
That's wild.
That's what's up. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's honestly, when I moved here from New York 15 years ago, as soon as I stepped on this land, it was my awakening.
Yeah. Same for me.
Yeah.
Same for me. There's something about energetically. I've been fortunate to travel the world, multiple times, kind of go all over. And there's 2 places that no matter when I get on the soil, it does something different to my cells, and it's Los Angeles, and it's kind of almost anywhere in Spain for some reason. But there's something about kind of an energetic shift for me. Whereas I no disrespect, although I've done pretty much a lot of disrespect to Tampa and Florida before. No disrespect now to Tampa or Florida, but I can't. There's just. They call it woo-woo out here on everybody. No, we're in touch with our energy. Come on, that's exactly. I got my friends. They'll go out and they'll go hit like Joshua Tree, right? Go get right with your energy, and everybody's like, but no, it really works. Vortex for real. What do you think you were talking about your sobriety, and it's interesting to me because I don't. Out here, we have what's called like California sober, and you don't have to talk about any of this if you don't want to. But
free book, open, transparent.
Yeah. But my relationship with weed changed completely when I did stop drinking for more than a year. And they say that your liver kind of regrows and fixes itself, and you have to really almost get it out of you for like a long, a long period of time. Yeah. But I never considered weed. It was always in a drug category. But like with recently, finally, it got moved from a Schedule 1 to I think it's Schedule 3 or whatever. But it's
all the money they're making all.
I know. They better.
That's how they move things down. Is the more money they make, then the less of a class. That's the less of a class.
Well, they make a lot of money off of heroin. They just call it OxyContin.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. They just do it the pharmaceutical route.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
get
No.
in trouble,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah. It's a different packaging. Yeah. You got to be able. Got to know how to market that stuff. Got to go to the right. Got to get the right distributor.
I mean, the emergency room is
Yeah.
their favorite place.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why we have people on the streets with drug addictions. And
Yeah. What's your kind of take on? I mean, on that? Do you like? Because to me, it's plant medicine, right? Is what they got here. But I don't put that in a drug category.
Yeah. So for me, it's all about the intention. And if, for me, and did you abuse it? Because forever, I was like, but my grandfather was born in Jamaica. I'm Jamaican. But like, I smoke like Snoop. I have smoked with Snoop. I smoke too much. And then I'm like, it's just an escapism. I can never smoke weed again. I can microdose. Like I microdose mushrooms in plant medicine because it's different because, again, 15 years ago when I started on the plant medicine journey, I took 5 years off of everything because my guide my mentor was like, you need to get, because it takes 7 years for the bodies really truly to regenerate the organs.
Yeah.
Every year our cells regenerate, but the organs take 7 years.
Yeah.
So like me and my ridiculous nerd studies, I'm like, okay, I really want to transform and change my brain. And after 5 years, I healed so much trauma.
Sure.
And I went in so deep because this is my passion. And I'm client number one to be the proof, to be like, look how far and what you can do. Yes, it's blood, sweat, and tears. So for me, I can't smoke. And even the weed, like, it's about feelings. And if you're really a true addict and like you have that isms, and it's not what alcoholism and addiction is not what people think it is. Like I sat in 12 steps meetings and I learned what it is. And it's the psychic change. Like I have a spiritual whole, which is so true because I'm a seeker. I'm a universal priestess because I seek all the master teachers and study. It's got to be something. And that physical allergy when like 1 is too much and 1,000 is never enough. And I had that experience with the party powder. That was the worst one. Like I don't drink because I drink and I used to drink and I used to break out in cocaine. So I was like, I don't want to do that. Drugs killed my father, took my mother, like God bless her, she's alive, but still took. So it's like, I just got wise and I was like, okay, this is not for me. It's individualistic. I say, everybody, you have to know thyself, number one, and find the language of your heart because people will tell you what to do, but only you know, look, it worked for you. I can't. And I don't even want to test it. I will microdose some 2.5 milligrams of this instead of an antidepressant because I went through some stuff and I was like, I'm going to do this instead of that.
Right.
And it's very helpful.
That's my where I landed on it is I was like, oh wow, this is way better than pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
You know, like way
Well, I
better.
think, anything that can come from the earth, but you can always abuse anything. I think what you were saying about, it being intentional. If you're utilizing
intention, 100%.
mushrooms to get to a certain level, clear your head, find a path, whatever it is that you're seeking, then I think that's different than, abusing anything too much. I think everything is in moderation, but if you're using it for healing, I'm the same. I can't smoke, but I have a different reaction to smoking. I don't know if it's because it's supposed to relax you. Then my body goes, no, Asia, nothing will relax you. You will be on all the time.
It does the opposite.
It does the opposite. I turn into a hypochondriac. I don't like
the same
myself.
thing
I'm
with my
like,
girl,
wigging out. So
It's the opposite.
I cannot, it does no relaxation for me whatsoever. Maybe at some point I wish that it had. I thought maybe that would be a good source, but no.
I love it.
Intention, and the reverence. Like, please honor
reverence,
these. Like,
yeah.
I talk to it, and I talk to the plant, and especially with mushrooms and psilocybin, which is billions of years old, the oldest organism, right?
Mycelium is just ridiculous.
So respect and like
Mycelium is,
people are like,
yeah.
but I had a bad trip. I'm like, well, did you pray for it? Did you honor it? They're like, no. Why would I do that? I'm like, that's why they're gonna teach you a lesson.
Right.
They're more
Exactly.
brilliant than you.
Hashtag
They're the
science.
most connected being on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, hands
Lit.
down.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
They are
No.
connected everywhere. I'm just getting into like learning about mycelium and not just like what microdosing does. I'm very curious about it, but I always find it interesting that like when we say tripping or when you're going on these experiences, we're always like, everyone always wants to be in nature and everyone wants to go back to nature, or you have some experience in the forest. And I love that about it, but it's like at the root of it, we're just all trying to get back to nature. And I keep saying that over and over again. But mushrooms is one of the things that I'm looking at now because it's so interesting to me that that's the first place people go.
Yeah.
It's nature and reconnection. And I'm like, yes, that's what I've been saying, everyone.
Yeah.
You need to
Actually.
reconnect,
Now, do you do mushrooms?
I don't. I have
Have you ever
microdosed
done them?
once. I've
You've
microdosed once, yeah. And I mean, it was at my best friend's wedding, and We were in North Carolina on an indigenous land that was respected.
You don't have to give. You don't have to
Literally,
sell me.
I'm not selling you. I
the
want to tell
microdose.
you.
Okay.
I want to tell you how
Okay.
beautiful the experience was.
Okay, please.
So, and why I said yes to it.
All right.
So we're on this like indigenous land, like 30 minutes of the wedding. There was like 10 minutes of my best friend and her husband, and then the rest of it was acknowledging the forest. And it was the most beautiful, like, ceremony. I mean, and then the trees were like, I mean, there was no wind, and the trees just started talking, and everyone was just, it was like you could hear the people. It was beautiful. So after that, everybody was microdosing. And I was like, all right, Asia, this is your time. You're in the forest. You're with good people. You're with your best friend. It's her wedding. Aubrey, you know what I'm talking about. I was like, yeah, this sounds great. And it was great. I was fine. I haven't done it since then. I didn't feel like it gave me anything. You know, like, I don't know. Maybe I didn't take enough.
Did you
I
set
don't
intention?
know.
And
Yeah, right. No,
But my
you set
intention-
setting intention.
I didn't.
Okay.
You
But
had the set and setting. You did.
But next time, but I think
you
there
have
was
the
like
intention.
a lot of stimulation too,
course.
right? It's a wedding, and I was also in charge
That's
of
true.
like everything.
That's
You're a powerhouse,
yeah.
so like,
So,
yeah.
but I didn't have a bad experience.
No,
so I'm
that's
up
cool.
for it again. I just want to do more research. I want to know. I want to set the intention the next time. But yes, I'm very intrigued by mushrooms at the moment.
I love that. How about you?
I mean,
You're like every day.
I'm a rock and roller, man. What do you want from me?
Tell us how often you microdose.
No, like a lot.
So you're just dosing.
No, well, kind of. Like, it's so funny because it is intention, and it is. Everybody's got to kind of find their thing, right? And our manager, shout out to Doc McGee, love the man, and he managed some of the biggest, most over the top bands in the world, and they used to call it full contact management because he managed Motley Crue at the heyday. Like you would have to, they would handcuff the guys to the bed, and they would still sneak out. They would figure a way to sneak out. Like there's one story where he's got like a part of the bed handcuffed. Tommy Lee there in Orlando, I think is where it was. He's got a part of the bed handcuffed to his hand. They were on the 3rd floor, and they had somebody on the front making sure that he doesn't come out. So they took the piece of the bed because they wanted to go to a strip club.
Of course they did.
Isn't that how it always ends?
But I mean, Bree, shout out to Bree.
Like, Bree, where's Bree?
but
Talking about strip clubs.
Respect on the Florida, strip clubs. You got to put respect where it's due. So
Tampa.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Dale Mabry, we have probably the best strip club.
100%.
I mean,
100%. Shout out.
know that.
shout out
Mons
to
Venus,
the home-
2001. Yeah,
Shout
no,
out
it's
to the
legit.
homeland.
Yeah. They wrote girls. Shout out to the homeland. They wrote girls about that shit. So it's legit.
Okay.
But so back to Doc, one of his things is anything worth doing is worth overdoing. That's his motto. And I'm built for that in a lot of ways. So I like to know where the edge is and then kind of go back.
sounds dangerous to me.
It is. I know. For me,
And then I have fun inside it. I have fun inside it. No, don't get me wrong. I don't know. I don't even know why. There's a part of me that like I know how lucky I am to be alive on so many different occasions.
I hear you.
And I have had my conversations with the creator, and I think that's one of the reasons why I tattooed it on my hand is because I basically
What did you tattoo?
the 3 principal tenets for me is love, light, and self-discipline.
Beautiful.
But in 3 different languages that where the 3 different kind of cultures that sort of changed my life, like kind of marrying into an Indian family and the Bhagavad Gita and everything was is a whole different way to think about spirituality for me. Yeah, and I got to really dive into that over the pandemic but all of the journeys, whether it be LSD or for me, I did my college paper on LSD because that's why you and I kind of say, I was like, I want to know about this. And I was like, I want to, the Beatles, like they changed their whole sound after this. I was like, I want to know what changes somebody's sound. So I did my paper on it and it changed my life. And it was one of the coolest things that ever happened. But my intention was definitely set going into it. And I think I've seen situations where people handle all kinds of things amazingly that other people can't handle with certain types of things, myself included. And some of that you kind of also sort of can take for granted. And that's why giving people their space and letting people come to their own,
Yep.
their own sort of.
To thine own self be true.
Yeah.
Period.
Church. Yeah. And the light, for me, everything started to become about light. Like you talked about, like you realize that about your purpose, your journey, is to be a mirror, a reflector of the light, right? Or an emitter of light, right?
And the journey of that being a light worker versus being a light slave, being African and indigenous, and having we were talking about releasing those old dogmas of scarcity and, my enslaved ancestors versus, and my mother who was a street worker and a drug dealer and all this stuff, and having that stuff was like, that's not mine. That's not mine. How do I, so letting go as a woman, as like all the others in this ism system that is broken, how do I confront and allow myself to choose my own? And it is breaking yourself free to be a light worker and learn how to protect my light and shine it and radiate it, radiate it.
Yes, yeah.
We're told to not shine our light most of the time. Like we're supposed to be in the back. We're supposed to, you can go down the list, especially if you're queer, especially if you're black and brown, especially if you're a woman. I mean, you've just got everything, all the back row seats available to you, know?
Yeah.
So you really have to work to get through all of that to shine some light up at the front. I mean, it's a big...
That's why plant medicine, Mother Earth is here to help us.
Yeah.
Done properly,
She
and
sure
not
is.
appropriately, please.
Yeah.
And I think she heals us in all the ways. I think we focus a lot on things like mushrooms because it's the most studied, right? And it's out there, and we're still learning so much.
Great mother
we still
Aya.
don't even know about all of the mycelium that exist. But even things like I'm interested about how standing by the ocean for 20 minutes affects your blood circulation and brings
Grounding.
stress levels down and cortisol level. I mean, the things your body does when you're next to waves and water, which is why I know I can never be away from water
Same. Me
more
too.
than
Same.
Me too.
30 minutes
Coast
might be
kids.
my
Yeah.
max.
Yeah.
Coast kids, like there's just a different.
Yeah, no. And Southern California, let's be honest. Come on, Southern California. It's a whole different thing. Yeah, because it's that sweet spot.
Sure
is. Yeah, I one of the best parts about being out here is I never feel like anybody's being squashed in a way where it feels like other places that are trying to make more of a homogenous sort of culture and things like that, or gentrify places and stuff like when you look up in the hills, there's 100 different housing styles. Go run around Lake Hollywood, you'll go from because it's not a subdivision.
That's true.
With all the sameness, right? It's everybody kind of getting to express themselves with their place, because why not? It's your place. Express yourself. So you see some of the most intricate and complicated architecture, up around here and everything like that. And I that's kind of a reason why I love California, because we have the muscle of two of the biggest ports on planet Earth, which is just, let's be real, since the dawn of man, the ports kind of control everything, so much. But then you combine that with I do think being out here and being with the water around us and everything, it does create a kind of free spirit that I always say it's delusional, but it's everybody's coming with a dream, and it's just if they let their dream get squashed or if they find their way to their dream. But
I think everybody has a little bit of a different, because as a person of color, I kind of beg to differ, because there's still so. I don't want to say it's not. It's gentrifying, but it's so segregated still. Like when I go, I moved
Los Angeles,
just like my experience of looking for another black person. You know what I mean? Like it's rare. Well, I'm always the only one in the room. Shout out to my mentor Laura Robbins, who wrote. And it's so we all have different experiences.
Yeah,
so I love that, but we're all having a different perspective, because I still I moved to Pasadena, which I love. There's so much Black history there, but that's what I'm looking for to feed my soul. Right? You know what I'm saying? I need that. Like Octavia's Bookshelf, the first Black woman bookstore, where Octavia Spencer, I don't know who y'all know the author, but just she was her father's. She was a slave and just learning of like the redlining, and that was a sundown town. You know what that means? Like my ancestors had to be in the house before the sundown, or I might get killed.
Yep.
So like that energy's here too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
It is.
It's but I focus in the light and I try to experience that. But my blood and my bones, the ancestral trauma is just like, hey, what's up?
No, for sure. And I mean, just I'm still new here, but just in working in Compton and Skid Row,
Yes.
the things I've seen, I mean, it's devastating. And but to your point too about like crushed, like it's like I feel the the crushed dreams in those moments too. Like especially on Skid Row and especially in Compton and you can see the segregation still, and you can see the poverty and I think this place is magical for so many reasons because you feel like you can do anything. Like we were talking about this, we've talked about this, like you feel this power when you're here that everything is attainable.
Yes.
Your luck can change on a dime by the most random of encounters. But
absolutely,
I think it's let me ask you this: I think it's having kind of loved Los Angeles since I was born, even admiring it from afar, and the riots and seeing what the transformation that did, whether it was the Rodney King riots or whether it was the Watts riots before that, or you think about a situation that we've been lucky not to necessarily have, but it's just like a natural disaster with the wrong leaders in place, or a natural disaster with no leaders in place.
That part.
What does that do to civilization, kind of like writ large, right? There's 8 million people here that's kind of like spread out. Yeah. I think it's a class issue. It's a socio-class issue because started this show with Maya Sykes. I don't know if you're familiar with Maya Sykes.
Maya Sykes.
Yeah. My girl, she sang with our band. I love Maya. She's fam. And obviously, her perspective was always kind of one of those things where it was interesting because I loved the combination of being able to have conversations with her experience, growing up in Compton and in South Central and growing up in Long Beach but then really having a sort of all politics is local perspective, to where it sounds trite, but she comes from a place of being the change you want. Right. To see, which kind of means there's also, I've learned this from my girl too. There's also, if I start telling myself a message, then that is true.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so if I want it to change, she said something to me early on. She was like, why are you advocating for an event, an outcome that you don't want to be true? Right. And so if I catch myself doing that, that's where I'm like, I do appreciate like the argument of there's a systemic failure that's going on all over, that's continuing to go on. There's original sin that's baked into this. There are all kinds of forces that are in there, but
period.
That said, period.
Policing.
That said, what is the way to band together? Because there is a larger block of people that think the way we do than there are the nefarious types.
Well, I think it's this, and us coming together with our truths, right? And sharing and giving the diversity. Like we were talking about this last night, democracy is crushing as far as it's gone in January. Yeah. And so how do we create democracy if everybody doesn't have a voice, and then they're really not speaking for, I can speak for the Black, I'm not on Skid Row, I'm not homeless, but how do we get that and do the grassroots and give them a voice and like kind of uplift them? Because what you're saying is energy work and me changing my perspective, which also I don't like to gaslight myself and spiritually bypass the truth and the facts, because I am an activist and I'm here to tell the truth. And we were just talking about this, let go of the scarcity of slavery mentality, and no, I belong here. Right. But like I have to do so much inner work more than the cis person that doesn't have
absolutely
indigenous blood or African blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
absolutely.
It's your point. Almost kind of when we were talking about we had the opportunity. We've never talked about this on the show, but we had the opportunity to get involved in the Kamala Harris campaign, and right away we were like, okay, I don't know if the country still isn't over misogyny enough to do it, and then Barack Obama kind of changed the paradigm on some things. So and it was an interesting thing, but I do think being Black cis female is one of those things where it is such a shit deal out the gate that it's it does need to be talked about. What is baked into the system on a percentage basis now, when we're looking back at it, we'll say, was that because Trump only won by, now we found out, like 1.4 12%, which is not a lot. It's 273,000 votes in 3 different states.
Her silence lost it.
Yeah.
I wish she would have spoke up even some way. But again, capitalism rules probably had some people, investors. But if she would have just said something about Gaza, Congo, Palestine, like something, like give us the flag.
It would have.
I voted for her, but
Sure.
No, it would have helped. And again, we don't always know the reasoning behind things. We don't know what threats. We don't know what she was dealing with. But I mean. That was definitely on my mind.
Yeah.
We all needed an answer.
yeah, I was going back and forth. I didn't want to because of that. That was my argument. But
So
then
your
I was
other
like,
option would have been to not vote.
Apathy, and I can't do apathy.
Right.
So I was like,
Right.
I ain't doing apathy. My ancestors are banging on me, you know, like Shirley Chisholm, like, you know what I mean? Like, I got to vote for a black woman. I'm a black woman. This is historical. So get out of yourself and empathy, because I really, truly know nothing about politics, and I'm not a politician and never want to be, or maybe I should be. Who knows?
Right.
I don't know.
That could actually turn a bug into a feature.
Facts. In a heartbeat. Like you said, anything can happen.
Yeah, I was like, should I apply for the LA shelter role, or should I just stay in my lane outside and try to change it over there? But you don't know. But politics is always a really hard one. But it was sad to me to see how many people could not vote for her based on one thing, which is that she was a female.
I think
other things, but the misogyny came out in such a way that
systemic.
It really, it really hit.
It's depressing because I don't see that. We don't create that in our world, right? And this is kind of one of the reasons why. There was a time in Los Angeles where it was bad for the first 10 years, because I had a bunch of friends around that were negative, and it's called commiseration for a reason, right? Because misery loves company, right?
It does.
And then I moved to Nashville for a brief stint, and I rejected it like a bad heart transplant, because I didn't have any water, and let's be honest, it's a red state. And but shout out to Nashville. I love me some Nashville
Even though
peeps,
it's the
but
music capital now,
Nashville's
right?
bluish, but and I love it. I got mad peeps there that I mad respect and stuff. But coming back, I got to approach a clean slate of, okay, well, now who am I hanging out with? What am I letting in on my chi? What am I letting in on my spirit? And then I realized, oh my God, I was letting that in previously. I was like, oh, that's what was pulling from me. Yeah. And I was like, no. And now it's like, when I feel that energy from anywhere, it's like, no, nope, we're getting rid of this, you know? I feel like we kind of have to band together, because there's a lot more of us that think the same. I think there's generations of, you just said it, give us a flag, right? Give us if she would have done,
Negro,
exactly. Which she did a little bit, but not enough. Not enough.
She did. I mean, at least it wasn't publicized. I didn't catch it. I was looking for it.
I know.
My sister's word. And I want to say,
the crip walk on TikTok wasn't enough. No,
that's just culture. That's pop culture.
Yeah, no. I'm kidding. I don't know if she did that. I don't think she did. It would have been an AI.
But like what you were saying about being a black woman, I had to say it because, first of all, I was telling her, black women, we were the first shamans in Africa. Black women, we are the gifts to this earth and world, with the appropriation of everything.
Church.
So, like us, what you're saying is a shit order. Like, I refuse that. I rebuke that. It's actually the greatest initiation of my life, because I have to step up. I have to find my voice. I have to speak up. And yet I have to learn how to rest and not take it and be tired. We tired. Yeah. You have to teach yourself, every other culture. But it's in my blood. I got the fire to teach it and spread it authentically. But I can tire myself out, because you're right. It's a lot being a black woman.
It's almost like once you have gerrymandered districts, they explain it like you have to win by 3 points just to win by a percentage, and that's what it is. And I think just my mom's Cuban. I kind of only that was really the only relatives I knew growing up. So the only experience I sort of understood was the immigrant experience, and coming over on the boat lifts and stuff was how I met my relatives in a way that it was just like, oh, cool, I got new relatives. You're a young kid, you don't realize it, but. I hope you don't. What I was meaning by a bad situation is also something that I've learned just now, not just now, but I'm saying at this point in my life where, and praise to Ty Taylor, because if you're constantly in art mode, if you're constantly in creating, in a creating state, there are no bad things, right? There is no bad. It's only what we create, so we can create good out of everything. And I was saying this the other day, and it's hard to talk about because I don't want to get canceled or anything like that. But all my heroes, I didn't even realize that all my heroes was Motown and Stax and James Brown and Parliament Funkadelic, and then I found Prince and Stevie Wonder and so I was like that was my sort of, I don't know, that unlocked me and my kind of natural gifts or whatever. But
I feel your reverence and your allyship and your empathy. It's just that I'm as a black woman, I'm like, let us know it's not a shit. It is, yes, and I appreciate.
I don't
the
mean
recognition.
it. Yeah. I don't mean. I mean it's like. What'd you say that again?
At the end, we are goddesses. God damn it.
No, that's why. I mean, and it's 100%, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm always so fascinated by it. Because on one level, like if I have been afforded luxuries just because of where you classify visually, right? And that is a prism by which I am now. I love looking at everything else through, before which I previously woke up. Yeah, fuck off. Woke is okay. I'm waking the fuck up, right? And I'm waking up.
Actually.
Yeah, and it turns out like getting rid of history doesn't mean that history didn't happen, right? And so acknowledging it is the only thing I meant by saying, you're coming out the gate where everybody else has already been out and they're running the race.
Absolutely.
And but you are the original goddesses. So that's why I love it. I am honored every day to be around Asia, Maya, Bree. I'm just, it's kind of one of those things where a long time ago, I don't know what it was probably like 8 years ago, I was like, women just need to take over, please. Can you take over? Can you take over, please? Like for the most part, men just fuck so much shit up.
But we as a society,
men fuck so much shit up.
We suppress things
Men
we
are
don't
dumb.
understand, right?
Yeah.
We suppress what we don't understand, and we suppress things that make us feel insecure. And I think that a lot of feminine energy makes so many men insecure. And
that's facts.
That's across the board, know? And it's with other beings too. We don't appreciate what we don't understand.
Yeah.
But how do you get people to understand? How do you get people to see you? How do you get people to see an elephant, How do you get there? And I think it's through finding the commonalities, working through the traumas, and figuring out a way forward where you can do the least amount of harm to those around you. I mean, and that's my chi. That's how I try to move forward in my life. If I can go through a day without impacting someone, which is very hard to do. I mean, the things we buy, the things we eat, everything we do has an impact. But I think just really like directing that energy towards not doing harm. I mean, that's just my way forward.
Ahimsa, Sanskrit, harmless, no violence.
Like that's where I'm sitting right now. And it kind of like brings me, I guess my thought train was I wanted to come back to post-elections and how people are grappling.
Or how are we going to go? You said it,
How
January 20th.
do we move forward?
January 20th, shock is going to be that is the point. Chaos is
and
the
in
point.
your face.
Yeah, and
it's
in
going to
your
be
face,
so
right,
in our
unapologetic.
faces and unapologetic and so
on Martin
rude.
Luther King Day?
Yep.
Like, really?
Come
Like,
on.
disrespect?
Come on.
Like
Yeah.
that.
Come on.
They just want to
that's
incite
baked in.
rage. They want to incite rage.
No, it's inside. It's
That's a
to
feature,
create the
not
most.
a bug to them. So,
we'll probably Who wants to bet we'll have some blackouts that day?
I mean,
anybody?
It's
Yeah.
unfortunate, but lots
Yeah.
of things
Come
are
on.
going to sadly erupt. It's just for me, I held a frequency of peace that day, like literally in meditation and like Vedic, like in silence and like really like activating, radiating peaceful light. But 3 days after,
You're talking the 5th, November 5th.
Yes, yes. And 3 days after, I was just like, I got hit with it. Like, and not for the simple fact, because I knew he was going to win, actually.
Yeah.
Not for that, because we're going through a dark night of the soul that has to happen. The old has to collapse. The divine feminine is rising.
Yeah.
Lessons are learning less. It's a part of our evolution that's been written by the greatest minds and prophesizers in the world. It's happening. We can't fight it. But like, it's the people. So how are we going to deal with going to the grocery store, driving, these people who with the road rage? This woman was driving a middle finger. I was just praying and sending her love. I have deep mindfulness practices. I am a shaman. I'm on a shamanic path and deep reverence to the indigenous people who came before me and my elders. we have to come up and heal ourselves and hold that tuning fork piece of frequency of peace, because it is going to explode.
Right.
But I got so sad and grief and depression for like a few days because of me having to know what I know I have to deal with in our world, the hate that's going to be risen, because we have to stop moralizing everything. Everything is not good and bad. It's all yes and, but that takes an open mind. You know.
Yeah.
And even for you, knowing that we're going through these trenches because it's part of the process, but as a human being with a heart and some compassion, you're thinking to yourself, well, along this journey, how many people get hurt? How many people get stuck in a crossfire? How many police do that? Like, how many riots incite violence on this group of people? So it's really hard to figure out how to move through that when you know all of these people and animals and the earth are going to be impacted by it. So I guess, how do we move forward? You know, what is the way forward? How do we build community? How do we find like-minded individuals? I think this is like the biggest time for grassroots that we've had in at least 100. I mean, this is big right now. Like, we have to get at the ground. And for me, I think because I've been working in areas where no one cares, you know, not no one cares, everyone cares, the community cares, but the government may not care, the U.S. may not care. But, you know, I've been working in vulnerable communities that are, you know, facing hunger and no electricity and no power, and they've been living in isolation. And guess what? We've been able to move mountains in those areas. So I had to shift my focus. I was going through the same thing, you know. It was like, first day was a shock, and then I just felt heavy for the, following days. But then I flipped my script, and I was like, no, Asia, like, you've been doing this work this whole time. You've been working with vulnerable populations. You've been working with indigenous tribes. Like, we've been doing this. We just have to keep going, and we have to keep adding more people to our army of peace, you know?
Well, doing our inner work too. Because we have to help each other sustain ourselves while we connect each other to do this deep work that is an energetic shift at the community level.
Right.
At like us sitting together, allowing us, okay, now moving forward, concerts, events, workshops, like activating people to care. Like, because how can you care about healing your country if you don't care about healing yourself?
There's a period of 7 weeks or whatever, but I know our work's going to be cut out for us.
Yes.
You know, and
absolutely.
what inspires you now? What are you looking forward to as far as what do you have coming up kind of big project-wise?
I put a new single out, 7 Day Candle, and my podcast, Revolutionary Anecdotes, and creating more activist like workshops. And I have a workshop called I Receive, and learning how to receive and give permission, where we do I'm a sound healer and sound bowls, but we do shadow work and teaching people how to do shadow work. And I'm just kind of inspired through entertainment or through poetry and activism and activating people, because I have that gift and God's given me that gift, so I have to use it. And I mean, like I performed in front of thousands. I'm like, wow, I can't wait to do this and activate like Joe Dispenza does in rooms full of thousands, and wake people up and activate them to learn how to empower themselves, like turn on people's light. Like I like Martin Luther King, like I shine the light on the darkness. And I'm inspired to do that in whichever way Spirit makes it known for me, in the less harm for everybody, and especially myself, because like I said, I deserve rest and a vacation.
Yes, you do.
So,
yes, you do.
Pushing limits, learning, you know, acting, you know, like pushing limits, continuing to train and continuing to invite and be open-minded and and talk to some, and even not cancel people who voted for Trump, and actually talk to them.
Understand.
100%.
We have to
Call on my ancestors who sat
open
with
mind. That's I gotta. Okay, cool. I gotta exercise that muscle.
Yeah,
sure.
like
the
with
more
the
we
Black Panther
close it
Party.
off, the more we close it off, the less the conversation is happening. We have to be open. We have to create those spaces. It has to be uncomfortable, or there's no forward motion.
Yeah,
everyone just stays over here, and everyone just stays over here.
I'm inspired by the Black Panther Party, where my ancestors sat in front with the KKK. Like they sat and they made treaties, they made agreements.
Yes.
So if they did it, I can do it.
Exactly.
Like, who the hell do I think I am? Humble myself and put the full armor of God, Spirit, Creator on, and not the half armor.
That's what's up.
Okay, so therefore I have to make sure my cup is full. So I want to help activists and thought leaders and people fill their cup up and learn energy tools, and leaders in the communities that are burnt out because we're just giving, but you're on the lead of death. Like, no, we need you. So let's learn how to take care of self-care, not just beauty self-care.
No, sure.
You know, like emotional, mental, spiritual self-care.
Yep. Yeah.
No, because we need them, and we need them for the long run.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah. Well, before we go, how can people find you? What's all the links, your website?
Yeah, so Blue Nile is BLUNYLE World, and that is building, loving, uniting, new you, limitless empowerment.
Hey.
Activists always, belonging, liberating. Blue Nile World. I have Rooted in Power Healing is my shamanic Reiki master. I'm a somatic coach and therapist, yoga, breathwork, all things under wellness that I teach and recovery coach as well. So find me on the gram at Blue Nile World, at Rooted in Power Healing. Revolutionary Anecdotes is an incredible podcast. We talk about breaking generational curses, and it was birthed when George Floyd was brutally killed 4 years ago. But what we're going through now in a different way relaunching that, and y'all are inspiring me, and just continuing to communicate and just build community,
I mean, the impetus for me originally starting the show was to. It did not feel like artists alone. I saw people not speaking out early on, and I was like, I think how long it took, like even Taylor Swift or something like that, to speak out, and you bringing the people who it's Sonics love action progress, because it's basically. If you're making noise like that, just making noise, let's get on board. Let's put our love together with some action, and we will progress. Yeah, fight the power.
Fight the power. Let's go.
I can't tell you how much of a pleasure it is. I want to do this again. I want to keep in touch with what you're doing, and please.
Thank you, Asher, for having me. Respect both of you.
Much love.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Join me, Sasha Peters, on Women in the Nude, Season 2, where we bear it all except for our bodies. Leave that to your imagination. My wish for women is that we strip away the fear of judgment and really embrace the full spectrum of who we are.
I don't know if you are coming to terms with being pregnant on the show.
Yeah, I think she was a little depressed. Let's live boldly and openly and change the narratives that define us.
I called my doctor. I'm like, I want to drive my car through a brick wall.
We deserve it, and there's no better time than now. Let's get out of our comfort zone and get down to the bottom of who we are.
All right. That was, whoa. I mean, I don't even know. I don't have the words. I feel a higher energy just being around Blue Nile.
She
Absolutely
buzzes when she walks in. She's buzzing, and I think I just thought about something kind of right now as we're talking. Like, I don't know you're going to get that kind of conversation anywhere else right now from the perspective of the people at this table and with her. Yeah. So, like, props on her. She's bold, and I love that. I love conversation like that.
And she's just like radiating light.
Yeah,
you just see it bouncing off the walls.
That's
so
right.
I feel so like just blessed that we were able to have her here.
Hell yeah.
So.
Hell yeah.
All right, moving on to another, for us, positive story. Is that too much?
Yeah, no, it's great. That's great.
I'm like,
everyone's saying it.
Okay, as
So we might as well chop it up.
So New York prosecutors have charged Luigi Mangione with the murder in the assassination of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson.
Yeah, that's right. The 26-year-old Ivy League graduate from Maryland. He's also charged with 2 counts of second-degree criminal possession of a weapon, 1 count of second-degree possession of a forged document, and 1 count of third-degree criminal possession of a firearm, online court documents show.
These parasites had it coming, is one line from the document that read, according to a police official who had seen it. Another reads, I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done.
He's referring to the United Healthcare, describing United as one of the largest companies by market capitalization in the United States, according to law enforcement sources who has read the document, or who had read the document. Yeah. So he also had on the bullets was defend, deny, depose, which... in the industry, apparently it's sort of the shorthand for how they deny claims. And I saw the graph today that United was, and by far, the largest denier of healthcare claims in the whole gang of kind of relatively awful healthcare companies that we have, and in the United States at least. And it's, permission to speak freely, Your Honor.
Yes.
I mean, it feels like obviously sort of vigilante is not something that at the core we can't devolve to that, but it's really hard when the president of the United States says "fuck the rule of law." What are we looking at? What are we coming up? Like what are we dealing with? Yeah, people kind of have to take things into their own hands if we are letting this happen, okay, and not pushing back against this stuff. To me, that is a type of pushback, and it's just sort of natural. When you do this to human beings and energy writ large, you push that kind of energy, it is going to push back at you. So
well, and I can imagine, I mean, this is, emotion against all of the human beings that have probably lost their lives, not probably, that have lost their
most
lives
definitely, yeah,
due to their insurance being denied for one, reason or another.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a scam from every angle.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it.
Yeah.
So I see where he's coming from. Now, is murdering someone the right way to go? No, but it brings about a conversation about change, and you would hope. But for me, the issue that I have with it is we can't just go out, killing all the bad guys and then replacing them with more bad guys. We have to change from within. So I don't know what the way moving forward is for this. I'm not mad at the guy either.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm being frankly honest about it.
Sure.
I love this movement against the bad guys. I mean, we have to do something about it.
Yeah.
So props to him, but also murdering everyone isn't going to be the way forward, because now they're just going to move up somebody from the other ass backwards, board committee that was having a meeting while this was
that's the other thing.
Right?
I don't know. Did you see this, Brie? Yeah. So for people who don't, I mean, it was cold blooded. But like he was shot at like 8 a.m. and they were still having their board meeting by 9. They were like, nah, you ain't stopping this train, man. The green train runs on time every day.
It's illegal running mafia is what it is. But, for my Italian family, mafia does a lot of good. So I don't even know that I should call them mafia.
This is the conversation that needs to be had, the separation between the haves and the have-nots. You can't, the foundational point of health insurance can't be to find out where we can deny to increase shareholders' bottom line. That's not how healthcare works. That's not how it's supposed to work. Listen to Bernie Sanders. He pipes it every day. It's like he's telling you how it should be. And so other countries do this right. It's not a fucking mystery, right? There are other countries and other places that do this a lot right. So hopefully there's a wake up that kind of happens here.
I mean, we've got a ton of exemplars to go after.
Hey, I heard that.
European countries have been doing this right for quite some time.
Yeah.
So,
amen.
All right. Well, we've got one more super fun thing to do. One of our favorite segments, 2 scams and a slap.
That's right.
I am reading today. You are going to have to pick.
All right. I haven't gotten this right yet. and we switch off every show. We switch off every I think Asia's 3-0 and I am 0-3. I'm sucking ass at this. Let's do it though.
You know what? You might get this one today.
Okay. All right.
I have faith in you.
Let's go.
Okay. All right. First one. Woman claims to have invented a mood ring for plants, saying it helps her garden thrive emotionally.
Okay.
All right.
Plants. Got it. That's one. Okay.
Number 2. Los Angeles artist creates a series of paintings using only expired condiments, sparking debates on art and food.
I love that. Go LA. And then, okay. And what's 3?
All right. Then there is my co-host / superhero / amazing entrepreneur / rock star, Rick, who had a birthday. And we just want to know what's true.
Did I have a birthday? I get this one right. I had a birthday.
Yes.
So
we got to call it out on the show. We just want to say happy birthday.
For those
yes. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
I just love listening to it. Okay.
We should not be singing. Birthday to you.
For those listening, there's a carrot or there's a candle inside a carrot, and to signify that there is next to it an actual real carrot cake.
Yes. We know.
I do like to eat healthy.
You like to eat it healthy, and we know that we wanted a balance here.
All right. So I'm gonna make a wish.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Well,
Yeah.
well, and also,
Do you go carrot or cake?
Oh.
yes, it is.
Sure, it's a test? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Come on, guys.
All right. And you know what they say about making wishes on carrots?
What's that?
You just reminded me of what's up, Doc. I'll leave
Thank
that
you,
to the
guys.
I'll
That
leave
was
that
really
to the
sweet.
viewers.
I'm sorry to be eating in you guys' ears. I
No,
was
no.
hoping-
We need the ASMR from the chewing
yeah,
of
this
the
is carrot
carrots.
eating in your ear. Yeah. Nom nom. Thank you guys for the cake. It was really sweet. For the carrot.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Being in Los Angeles we just went to the water and then just drove on the coast. And that's the most coolest thing about LA is like, you want something cool to just get in the car, drive west. And it was amazing. So I love it that I got to enjoy our city. And I look forward to doing good stuff in our city next year. So
And we're certainly happy that you were born, and
thank you.
we're glad you're
That's
here.
very sweet. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. Okay, that will do it for our show, birthday and all. Thank you, guys. We're going to keep you posted on everything. Before we head out, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. It's an agreement. It's a simple agreement. We put the show on for you guys, and so please, subscribe, help out anywhere you can, and make sure to. For Compassion Kind.
Yes, if you're in the LA area and you'd like to help out, we're always looking for fosters and amazing adoption homes for our furry friends.
That's right. All right. Sonics.
Love.
Action.
Progress.
That's right. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye. Slap the Power is a Slap Network production. It's written and produced by Rick Barriodil and Asia Nakia. Our senior producer is Bree Corey, audio and video editing by Asher Freidberg and Bree Corey, and studio facilities provided by Slap Studios LA and 360 Pod Studios. If you're into online power scrolling like we are, don't forget to follow Slap the Power on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and probably Pinterest soon for access to full episodes, bonus content, and more. And if you're as full of hot takes and crazy ideas as we are, please think about dropping us a review to help boost this episode, and you can help blow up the group chat by sharing with friends, family, or random shit posters on the internet you want in on the conversation. And if you're interested in being a guest on the show, please email info@slapthepower.com.